Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're taking on one of the biggest stories ever told, the 40-year Exodus. But we're going to do something a little different. We're going to put it on a timeline to see what it really tells us.
Look, we all know the story, right? The plagues, the parting of the Red Sea, the big Hollywood moments. But do we know the schedule? I mean, the actual play-by-play? Today, we're going to put this whole epic journey on a calendar. And trust me, what it reveals is a surprising story about time, consequence, and the birth of a nation.
So think of this as our blank map. We've got the start point, leave Egypt in year 1, and the end point, enter Canaan in year 41. That's a 40-year gap we're about to fill in. We're going to piece together the chronology straight from the biblical text, and it's going to take us from this vague sense of a long time to a surprisingly detailed schedule. All right, let's dive in.
So, Phase 1, the breakout year. And let me tell you, this journey does not begin with a slow march. It is an absolute whirlwind of divine action and, yeah, human failure. Almost everything you probably remember about the Exodus story, it's all packed into these first 2 years.
We can actually pinpoint the start to what would be our March of 1446 BC. The whole showdown between Moses and Pharaoh is hitting its climax. And the text gives us these incredible little details, like how the 7th plague, the hail, wiped out the barley crop because it was already in the ear. Now that's not just a random fact, it's a specific agricultural timestamp.
And then, bam, month 1, the final plague hits, the first Passover is observed, and on the 15th day, they're out. I mean, just think about that. After 400 years of bondage, it doesn't just say they left. It gives you the exact date. The narrative really slows down here, giving us this almost minute-by-minute feel for these critical moments.
And that name for the first month, Abib, it's not just a name, it literally means fresh ear of barley. This anchors the whole calendar to the agricultural season. It's just a fantastic reminder of how ancient timekeeping was so deeply tied to the rhythms of the natural world.
Now get this, just 2 months after that insane, dramatic escape from Egypt, the Israelites are already at the foot of Mount Sinai, the mountain where they're going to get their foundational laws. The pace here is breathless.
And the intensity does not let up at Sinai. The next few months are completely dominated by these 2 epic 40-day encounters between Moses and God. The first time he gets the 10 Commandments, he comes down, finds the whole golden calf disaster, and has to go right back up for another 40 days to basically intercede for the people. Just nonstop, high-stakes drama.
So after nearly a full year at Sinai, building the Tabernacle, taking a census, organizing their entire society, the signal finally comes. On the 20th day of the 2nd month of the 2nd year, the journey toward the Promised Land is back on.
And this right here, this is the pivot point of the entire 40-year story. They are right on the verge of entering Canaan. They send spies in for a 40-day reconnaissance mission. But it all goes wrong. Their terrifying report leads to a rebellion, and this single crisis of faith is about to change the schedule completely.
Which brings us to Phase 2, the 38-year wandering. Let's talk about the consequence of that rebellion, because this is what builds that vast empty space on our timeline.
The judgment for the people's rebellion is swift, and it is stark. The 40 days the spies spent in the land become 40 years of punishment. A short journey is suddenly transformed into a lifetime of waiting.
So here's the crucial point. After those action-packed first 2 years, the narrative clock basically just stops. For 38 years, the story goes almost completely silent.
The contrast is just staggering. The story shifts from this incredible sprint of nation building to a marathon of patience. You go from constant movement and conflict to, well, wandering. The Bible records almost no specific events for these 38 years. It is simply a long, quiet period of consequence, waiting for an entire generation to pass away.
But then, as we enter the 40th year, the timeline snaps right back into focus. There's this flurry of activity, signaling that the long wait is finally coming to an end.
In this final year, we see the old leadership pass away. Moses' sister, Miriam, dies in the 1st month. His brother Aaron, the high priest, dies on the 1st day of the 5th month. It is very clearly a year of transition.
And then, of course, the ultimate transition. After giving his final speeches, which make up the entire book of Deuteronomy, Moses dies. The torch is officially passed to Joshua. This marks the definitive end of one era and the absolute beginning of the next.
And this new generation, under Joshua, they act with immediate purpose. On the 10th day of the 1st month, they cross the Jordan. Just 4 days later, they celebrate Passover in their new home. And right after that, the manna that sustained them for 40 years, stops. They're home.
So, what have we learned? Let's just zoom out and look at our completed map to really understand what this chronological perspective teaches us.
And here it is. The journey isn't a steady 40-year march, not at all. It's a story of 2 intense years of action, a moment of decision, and then a lifetime of consequence, all followed by one final, decisive year of transition. The story is literally bookended by these bursts of activity.
So, laying the Exodus out on a calendar like this does more than just organize the facts, It transforms this mythic tale into a deeply human story about time itself. It shows how a single moment of fear can lead to a lifetime of waiting, and how, eventually, patience is rewarded.